Matthews 24:12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Ecclesiasticus 39:28. And it reads through the Holy Scriptures. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that madeth.
Ship packages anytime, anywhere, for less, a lot less. Get our special TV offer, a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to stamps.com/try and never go to the post office again.
Are you over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days? I have some important news for you.
Officials say at least 15 people are dead, including 11 children, after a man opened fire at a school in Russia. Local authorities said at least 20 more people were injured in the attack. Police said the alleged shooter killed himself at the school following the attack. He was identified by police as Artyom Kazantsev, a former student at that school. The motive for the attack is still unclear and is still under investigation.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Barkakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you Akim out there. And as you see, I brought out the scriptures, Matthews 24:12, Ecclesiastes 39:28 of the two articles that I'm about to bring out. And as you see, this first article right here, as you see what happened over there in Russia earlier today. I mean, even though the time zones might be different from where I'm at, from over here in the United States and over there in Russia, you know. So yeah, this was a news article from abcnews.go.com, and this was published by Patrick Rivell in September 26, 2022 at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time earlier today. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads, at least 17 killed in Russian school shooting. And it says 11 children were among the dead after a man opened fire in Azovsky, if I pronounced that right. And it says at least 17 people were killed, including 11 children, when a gunman killed at, right. Let me read that again, Slocky. At least 17 people, including 11 children, were killed after a man opened fire at a school in central Russia on Monday. Officials say local authorities said at least 24 more people were injured, and some severely in the attack in the school in the city of Elslisky, about 600 miles from Moscow, making it one of the deadliest school shootings Russia has suffered. And it says 22 children were among the 2 dozens injured in the shooting. And it says the 2 teachers and 2 security guards were among the dead, according to regional governor. Police said the alleged shooter killed himself after the school following the attack. They identified the 34-year-old former student at the school. Russia investigated committees with handled serious crimes identify him as Artyom Kalistov. Another post a video, and it said show his body laying in a pool of blood in a classroom. and motive for the attack was still unclear, but the committee said it was investigating a possible Slovakia views held by the shooter. I wasn't gonna say it because I keep the words in code because I don't want to get no strike on my channel. It says who the video release appeared to be wearing a T-shirt wearing a REDSWASTIKA, and it says President Vladimir Putin called the shooting a terrorist act, and it says President Putin grieves in the connections with the death of the people and the children in the school while the terrorist act occurred. It 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 was carried out by an individual who judged by everything belonging to a NEOFASCIST organization or group, Dmitry Peskov of Putin's press secretary told reporters. They said the shooting began mid-morning while children were in class. It says videos circulating the Russian media shows the people crawling under desks and were blood stains visible on the floor. Police sealed off the school and emergency service could be seen carrying stretchers with the wounded from the building. The shooter was armed with 2 pistols, according to Alexander Kelestin, the chairman of Russian Parliamentary Committee for Information Policies, Technologies, and Communications. And it says the school shooting had been relatively rare in Russia, but in recent years they have become increasingly frequent. In March of 2021, a teenager killed 7 children and 2 adults after attacking a school in Kazan. And in April this year, a man shot 2 children and a teacher dead at the kindergarten in the Yelinsklov region. An 18-year-old student killed 21 people and wounding more after setting off a bomb in a Polish-Tech college in Greece and occupied Crimea in 2018. So because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, and there are spirits creative of vengeance. Wow. And that lets you know it's a lot going on over there in Russia, Ukraine. It's already enough they dealing with the war in Russia, Ukraine, and then what Putin doing the mobilization of the areas.
Look at it. It's a no. No, Kitty. No, Kitty Boo. It's a no, Kitty. I leave the door so you go up in your bed and lay down, Kitty. Out there in the tree. No, Kitty.
Alright. I'm not. Can't go outside, Kitty. Man. So back to what I was saying, Slovakia. I was talking to my mom with the cat and stuff. So back to what I was mentioning. It's a lot of civil unrest happening in Russia and Ukraine. Because you got currently with the Russia-Ukraine situation with the war. Then you got the mobilization Vladimir Putin announced a couple of days ago. And then you have the protests of the anti-mobilization. Now you got this recently of the school shooting right there. So it's a lot of crazy stuff going on over there in Russia, And this is another news article from Russia, I believe. This happened today as well too. And I highlighted this news article from Mary Ilzinsha, if I pronounce her name right. And this is from the Washington Post, updated September 26 at 2:38 p.m. and published on September 26 at 9:37 a.m. Eastern Time. And for Europe, in a highlight of the news article, it reads from the Washington Post. For in the news, it's highlighted of the news article, and it reads: Gunman attacks Russian military recruiter as thousands flee mobilization. Right, and it goes into the anti-mobilization protests. That this potentially might have some connection to do with that. But I'm gonna read the news article because I had seen this earlier too, and I was looking at it on YouTube of an India news station, I believe, on YouTube. I seen it earlier, and this caught my attention as well too. So I was bringing this out as well too. And it says, a gunman apparently angered by Russian military mobilization opening fire at a recruitment office in Ilmisk, if I pronounced that right, a small town in Russia region on Monday, local authorities said. They said a young man shot and wounded the chief recruitment officer at a military enlistment station in Russia's region on Monday. Local authorities said thousands of fighting age men continues to flee the country to escape President Vladimir's war in Ukraine. Can't go outside, kid. No. The alleged shooter in the attack on military commission scrape in the UST ILMSK, a small town in IRKUTSK, were apparently distraught that his close friend had been called for duty despite having no prior military service. It says when Putin announced a partial mobilization last week, he said only experienced service members would be summoned. In other words, only military reservists, primarily those who serve in the armed forces and have specific military operation specialties and cooperation experience, and will be called up, he assured Russians in a national address. It says, but there have been terrorist reports from Russia, even from ardent supporters of the war, of people being summoned for duty despite having no military experience, or being too old or physically incapable of serving. Those reports, along with the government's acknowledgement that thousands of fighting-age men have fled the country to avoid conscription, suggests that the chaotic mobilization has become a latest debacle in Putin's war. A video clip on Monday shooting shows the suspect, identified as a 25-year-old Ruslan Zinsky, fired at least one shot into the office. The shooter was immediately arrested, and he was definitely being punished. Irkutsk Region Governor Aldon Igor Kobasis wrote in his Telegram blog, I can't wrap my mind around what happened, and I am ashamed that This is happening at a time when the contrary, we should be united. It says the recruit Alexei Elisif has been hospitalized in critically condition, the Kabzbov said. Zinson's mother, Maria Zinsson, told a Russian outlet, the Astra, that her son was upset because his best friend got a mobilization summon despite never having service experience in the army. They said that they would be partial mobilization. I believe they had a vote on that as well too, to Ukrainians to be mobilized and they be part of it. I believe they had a vote on that about a couple of days ago, but I'm not too much sure about that. But I heard about it though. But continue on with the reading. But it turns out that they take everyone, she was quoting and saying, as local commensurates rushed to fulfill quotes. Called up notice were sent to men who should be illegally exempt from service because of their age, health, or lack of military experience. And this is a photo right here from Associated Press on September 26 on Monday. It says a Russian recruit gathers inside a military recruitment center of Batatsky, Rostov-on-Don region south of Russia on Monday, September 26 from the Associated Press. It says some were sent home after a public uproar. It says over. Right, and it goes into the second Ezra's 9 and 3. There should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. So that's a reference to that scripture right there of this news article with the anti-protest of mobilization. It says which took place about a couple of days ago. It says others such as a 59-year-old Victor Danskus, who has stage 1 cancer and is blind with one eye, were called to duty. Independent newspaper Novsky Gazeta reported, if I pronounced that name right. It said he has a astigmatism, hypertension, age-related deafness. His daughter told the newspaper, saying the family had hoped he would grant a medical dispensation, if I pronounced that right. But no one at the hospital objected to this. Everyone follows the plan. It says amending swirling confusion over who would be summoned of thousands of Russians continues to flee the country. It says featuring the Kremlin would soon move to shut down the borders. The attack in Arskis was just one in a spite of incidents that showed resistance of the mobilization and becoming more widespread and more unpredictable. And it says in Ryazan, a city western Russia, and Maine reportedly set himself on fire at a bus station. Damn, what the hell? To protest the war. A local outlet, YA62RU, reported that he started laughing and shouting that he did not want to participate. Damn, having them bugging out over there. It says in the special operation in Ukraine, using the Kremlin preferred efficiency for the war. A video online shows the man who did not appears to be severely injured, being led outside the bus terminal by police and ambulance workers. The Spartan protests have also broken out, including a Russian region, populated mainly in ethnic minorities such as the Dagestan, where the majority residents are Muslim, and the indigenous lands of Bortaka and Yakta. Local activists said men in these areas. No, she probably
Huh?
she left out.
Like what?
She left out.
She did.
Yeah.
No, you ain't going outside, Kiki. It's a no, Kiki. Where you at?
Local activists said these areas are being disproportionately targeted by the mobilization. It says more than 2,300 protesters have been detained across dozens of Russian cities since Putin announced the partial mobilizations Wednesday morning, according to the right groups of OVD information, which monitoring protest activity. Traffic jams scorching for miles having formed at the border crossing with Georgia and Kazakhstan, and the departure of Russians continues through the weekend and on Monday. It says the jam at the Russian-Georgian border continues to be about 20 kilometers long, roughly 12 and a half miles, and the wait time to cross into Georgia is now up to 3 days. Wow. It says the Nikolaev Levitskis, a Russian speaking blogger who speaks on expertise in assimilation in Georgia, wrote in his daily Telegram update. And this is a photo right here. It says the Georgian side of the Verskines large border crossing between Georgia and Russia, about 135 miles from Tbilisi, the Jordan capital. On Monday, Russian men trying to avoid the military mobilization have been fleeing the country, many across land borders by car, foot, or bicycle. It says were air tickets to virtually all visa-free destinations. Loans are sold out. Yeah.
She came here trying to let you love that. She saw that the one.
Yeah.
She ain't going nowhere. You don't need to go back out there. It's supposed to get cool now.
Right. It says with air tickets virtually all visa-free destinations, loans sold out. Wow, they definitely really was trying to flee like that. Wow. It says Russians are fleeing by foot, by car, or even by bike. Photos and video clips posted on social media have shown replies of abandoned bikes near the border post. It says on Monday, men who fled into Istanbul on Monday morning said it took a charter flight from Moscow because the commercial flights was sold out, and he said he paid about $5,000 for his ticket. Wow, that's a lot of money. I mean, but the currency is kind of different from Russia in comparisons to the United States, so a money currency is kind of different. But continuing on with the reading, it says reports from Russian independent outlets said that authorities could use close the country's border to military-age men as soon as Wednesday, which is another day away, because it should be already Tuesday, already over there in Russia. It says the outlets Metzus and the Rosfosky live, citing a Russian government sources, each report that Moscow will halt departures as soon as it announced the results of the stage referendums now being carried out in parts of 4 Ukraine regions occupied by Russians. Occupied by Russia. There is no doubt that the results of the referendum, which are illegal under the Ukrainian or international law, will be reported by the Kremlin as showing overwhelming support for Russian annexation. And it says Russian countries have slammed the referendums as a sham, and Britain announced a new round of sanctions on Monday against more than 90 individuals and companies involved in the organization process is expected to conclude on Tuesday. A sham referendums held at a barrel of a gun cannot be free or fair. We will never recognize these results. British Foreign Minister James Cleverly said in a statement. They follow a clear pattern of violence, intimidations, torture, and forcing deportation in the areas of Ukraine Russia has siege. And it says Putin and other Russian officials have singled that once and since the Donetsk and Luhansk, Kherson, and the Zaporizhia regions, and the Kremlin would consider any Ukraine attacks there as a direct strikes against Russia, creating the justification for stronger proposals, including the possibility use of nuclear weapons, and providing a base for de-decorating partial or full-fledged martial law. And it says on Monday, Putin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov deflected those rumors, saying there's no decision has been made in this regard. But Russian international isolation depending Japan announced Monday that it will ban exports to 21 Russian organizations that could be used to produce medical weapons, and Tokyo warned Moscow against making further nuclear threats. Right, because the United States has threatened Russia as well too. It's saying there's going to be some serious consequences if Russia used nuclear weapons against Ukraine. Later Monday, Russian domestic security agency detained a Japanese consul general in the eastern city of Vladivostok, Motaki Tatsunari, and accused him of spying. It says Russian authorities declare him persona non grata, meaning he must leave the country. Thousands of miles from Moscow, Putin met with his closest allies, Belarus and President Alexander Lukashenko, in the sunny Black Sea resort town of Sochi. Lukashenko allowed Putin to use Belarus as a stage ground for the invasion of Ukraine in February, and has remained publicly supportive throughout the conflict, even as Russia has lost ground and momentum. In 2020, Lukashenko claimed he was re-elected in an election widely condemned in a referendum. He then cracked down on protests, subjecting thousands of Belarusians to beating and harsh prison sentences in the 2 years since. Up to 200,000 people have left Belarus. It says in their meeting Monday, Lukashenko told Putin not to worry about Russian men now doing the same. Let's say 30,000 to 50,000 left this gonna tell Putin, so what if they have stayed here? Would it have been your people? Let them run. Rob Diskin and Natalia Barkomoskov in Riga, Latvia in Cream for him and Unstable contribute to this report. Hey, yeah, so hey, it's a lot of going on in that Russia-Ukraine situation. As you have thousands of people fleeing on bike, on foot, trying to take a plane. Plane tickets throughout the roof, sold out, as men trying to find their ways to escape the mobilization of Vladimir Putin called up, I believe, like 30,000 troops, or 30 or 300,000 troops of Army reserves, and this goes for men that's non-experienced, to the older man, to the younger man that's non-experienced, don't have military experience, or former Army men that had experience, which they in their middle ages, their health-wise is not so good. So yeah, it's a lot of going on over there in Russia, Ukraine, in different parts of Russia as well too, So hey, as I brought out that first article of that school shooting, and then that shooting at the recruitment center, the military recruitment center in Russia, you had that 25-year-old. He got kind of disgruntled and upset that his friend was being called up to serve in the army with the Russia-Ukraine war that's going on. So, hey, I believe he shot one of the instructors of the recruitment inside the military recruitment center, and he shot him point blank range. I believe he shot one shot at him, and I believe the soldiers arrested him on the scene. And that goes into the anti-Russian mobilization of that protest that they had, and I mentioned that as well too as I was reading down through the news article. So yeah, man, hey, there should be seen upwards in the people of the world. Nations rise against nations, kingdom against kingdoms, wars and rumors of wars. Spirits created for vengeance. You're seeing that increasing. And Matthew 24:12, because of iniquity shall abound, and the love of many shall wax cold. So yeah, it's a lot going on over there in Russia, and it's a lot of civil unrest over there as well too. Hey, that's signs of times that we're living in. As these things continues to grow, as I mentioned before, with the upwards of the people of the world. Hey, that sedition among men. That's a clear example of Jacob's trouble coming very soon, which is recorded in Jeremiah 30:7. Hey, once that Jacob's trouble come, hey, it's gonna get crazy out here of what's going on over there in the Russia-Ukraine situation. Hey, that's coming to modern day Babylon the Great. Hey, that's just a preview of what's about to come to modern day Babylon, Because over here, this is spiritually modern day Babylon. This is spiritually Egypt, Hey, that sedition among men's spirit is going to increase around the world as we're seeing it. That shows you prime examples right there of those two articles and that video clip that I just showed you. Hey, because of iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Jeremiah 30:7. Hey, Jacob's trouble. Hey, Jacob's trouble. We seeing signs of it. It's gonna increase, Matthew 24:21. There's be great tribulation ever since man wasn't even seen on the planet Earth, and we're seeing prime examples of that And we seeing snippets of that. And it's going to increase more and more and more. We're going to see an increase of great tribulations on this planet Earth. And as you seen that school shooting over there in Russia, they said you rarely see school shootings over there in Russia. But the past couple of years, they started to increase. Hey, that's that great tribulation, you know. That's that lawlessness. Hey, the love of many shall wax cold. The hearts of many shall wax cold towards one another, and that's what we're seeing. You know, that's taking place on the planet Earth. Hey, these things are going to increase. Because like it says, what's that, 2 Timothy 3:1? Also in the latter days, perilous times shall come. And then we're definitely living in those times. And matter of fact, I'm going to bring up that scripture. Since mention that, you know. And this is the book of 2 Timothy. This is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 1. This is also that in the last days, perilous times should come. Right, because we are living in those times. We're definitely living in those increasing, dangerous, perilous times. And I'm going to look up the definition of perilous. Yep, the definition of perilous. Slocky, I'm just waiting for it to load up.
Perilous.
Right, perilous. It could be a perilously adverb, perilousness noun. Perilous, a definition, full of or involving perilous, a perilous journey. Synonyms for dangerous, grievous, jeopardizing, perilous, serious, unhealthy, virtuosome, grave, hazardous, menacing, risky, threatening, unsafely. Right, so we're definitely living in some dangerous, risky, and threatening, unhealthy, serious times, you know. And these things are definitely going to increase more and more in these latter days. And I'm going to bring it out again for edification's sake and sit down and listen. 2 Timothy chapter 2, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, I meant to say Salaki. And because Rakata, Salaki, Rakata, oh, 10. Call Allah Yabashmel Shah. 2 Timothy 3:1. This is also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Right, because we are living in those serious, dangerous, risky, perilous times, you know. The increase of pending dangers is increasing now more than ever. Lawlessness, and you know, the hearts of many shall wax cold, and that's what we're seeing, you know. And these things are just like I believe Matthews 24:8. These just the beginning of sorrows, you know. As a matter of fact, I'm about to bring that up. Right, these just the increasing of beginning of sorrows that's taking place on the planet Earth. This is the book of Matthews 24:8. And all these are the beginning of sorrows, right? Because these are the beginning of increase of sorrows, you know. Especially when that Jacob's trouble come into full effect as well, too. Which is Jeremiah 30:7, you know. And I'm bringing that as well, too. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 7. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like you, even into the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. right? Because we're entering in that time of Jacob's trouble. It's going to be a great insurrection, a great increase of tribulation, increase of spirits created for vengeance, increase of sedition among men, increase of nations rising up against nations, kingdom against kingdoms, increase of what you call that, sedition among man's spirit, which is 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 6, an increase of upwards in the people in the world. You're going to see that increase as well too. Matter of fact, since I've mentioned that, and the 25-year-old, he was kind of upset that his friend got called up in that recruitment center of Putin. Made that announcement about a couple of days ago about that mobilization. And then you had the protesters doing a protest of an anti-mobilization of Vladimir Putin. And since I mentioned that, here goes scripture right here. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 16. Salaki. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and of course their actions shall stand in their power. In 2nd Ezra, and as you've seen, and this goes right along with what's going on over there in Russia, as many flee from Russia, of the mobilization that's happening over there right now. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. Right, because as you see in many fleeing over there in Russia, and that's why you got these, even they trying to walk on foot, walk on using their bikes or transportation, or trying to pay airfares to flight to a different country, and some of them was able to escape, and some of them wasn't unable to escape, and they have to face it and to be drafted in the recruitment army, in the military recruitment, So yeah, that's what scripture says. A man should desire to be able to go into a city and they be able not to. And that's that lockdowns, martial law, you name it, So these are the signs of times that we are living in. And this is going to be pushed out worldwide, not just only what's currently going on over there in Russia, Ukraine, this is going to be worldwide. And especially it's going to touch down here in modern day Babylon as well too. And we're getting to that point. We're seeing clear signs of it, And 2020 showed that a clear example of that. A clear example, a snippet of what's about to come, showing a sign of that, of that demic happening, that word 19 demic happened in 2020 from 2021 and all the way into 2022. So that's a clear example of what's potentially is going to come. We're seeing signs of that, slowly but surely. We're seeing increased signs of it, but not at a higher pace. But we've been seeing signs of that pace. But we're seeing a slowly but increasing in the steps of process of that, So yeah. Number second, I'm gonna go up two more verses. 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 2nd Ezra 15 and 15. For the sword and their destruction draw near, and one people shall stand up and fight against one another with swords in their hands. Right, because just like in ancient time, they was fighting each other with swords. Now they doing it with both the modern day sword is the gun, the weapon, modern day. Even though they use swords too, like they did in ancient times, they doing it in modern day times too, along with the weapon and gun and stuff like that. For a prime example, you're gonna see these one people standing up against one another, one people standing up against the people that's in power. They're gonna oppose against them, what they making announcements or signing these laws and stuff like that, and the people are gonna highly oppose it. The citizens of the country gonna impose it. That's why you're seeing the uproars and the people in the world and what's going on over there in Iran. Now it's reaching globally. So that's signs of sedition among men, uproars in the people in the world, as in 2nd Ezra 9:3 as well too. And that's what you're seeing taking place on the planet Earth. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, verses 9 and verse 3. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at 1. 2nd Ezra 9:1. And he answered me then and said, measure thy time diligently itself, and when thy see parts of the sign pass, which I have told thee before. Right, because Yahweh Shemel Shah said, look for these signs and measure the time diligently. And that's what the men of the Lord are doing. We're measuring the time diligently. Because we seeing these prophecies taking place on the planet Earth, and we take it diligently, and we're measuring the times. And we are the watchmen. We watch news and prophecies, and doing these sit down lessons, and out on the highways and byways, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. We're measuring the time diligently. As Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai told us before these times, we was going to see it. 2nd Ezra 9:2. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest began to visit the world He made, right? Because we're seeing the increase of these earthquakes in diverse places, these heavy storms, these heavy floodings. Not trying to get off topic though, but right, these heavy storms, these heavy floodings, these tsunamis, these hurricanes, these earthquakes, these heavy storms, these heavy droughts we've been seeing throughout these summers. So these are clear examples, signs that Yahweh Shemel Shai is definitely visiting this earth which He made, and we are definitely seeing increase examples of that, And this is the one right here I want to mention on with the uproars of the people, as we're seeing right now. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen and earthquakes and uproars in the people of the world, right? That's what we're seeing. As I mentioned, what's going on over there in Iran, then the current situation with Russia, Ukraine, and then you got other situations with the Palestine, Israel situation. So you got these increases that's taking place on the planet Earth, So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying, and I hope I was able to get the points of bringing out the news articles and the scriptures to back it up with the scriptures as well too. Lord willing, hope this was edifying. Hopefully I was kind of on point with it. Hopefully the audience was able to understand it through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and a ball.